one of my favorites. There was a monastery surrounded by woods, which at one time was popular with visitors and full of monks. Yet over decades it had fallen on hard times. The psalms sung by the monks were lacking spirit and joy. Visitors were very rare now. Yet at the edge of the property, in an old shack, an old rabbi would stay occasionally. And when he did, the monks would feel sustained by his presence. But when the rabbi left, it was back to normal, sadly. So when the rabbi next appeared in the woods, the abbot decided to visit him and open his heart to him. As he approached, the door opened. The rabbi appeared with outstretched arms. They embraced as long-lost brothers. Stepping back after a while, the abbot was invited in, and in the middle of the room was a table, and upon it the sacred scriptures. They both sat. The rabbi began to cry, and the abbot, for the first time in his life, cried his heart out. After the tears ceased to flow, the rabbi says, "You and your brothers are serving God with heavy hearts. You have come for a teaching. I will give you one. But you can only repeat it once. After that, no one must ever say it again." He spoke. "The Messiah is among you." All is silent for a while, and the rabbi says, "You must go now." The next morning, the abbot gets up, says to his brother monks that he has a teaching from the rabbi, and it must never be spoken ever again. The rabbi said that one of us is the Messiah. Startled, they began to ask themselves, Is it Brother John? Or Father Matthew? Or maybe Brother Thomas? Or is it me? Puzzled. But as time went by, the monks began to treat each other with a special reverence. They had found something. And they prayed the scriptures together as men always looking for something else. Visitors were being moved also. They were being nourished by prayer, and young men were asking to join the community. The Messiah is among you. Zephaniah says in that first reading, "The Lord is in your midst." Twice he says it. Sometimes if you're like me, I don't pay much attention to that first reading. I encourage you to go home and to read it. We need to rejoice that God is among us. Philippians continues that. The peace of God will guard your hearts and minds in Jesus Christ in everything. Make all your requests to God. Christian joy is not simply a feeling, it is also a choice. Decide on letting God be in you. And then we have our gospel. The people that were looked down upon by the elite and those in power, the crowds, the tax collectors, the military, the police officers. They all say, "What can we do? How can I make myself more in line with God. Do you remember last week, the first part of this gospel? John the Baptist says, repent. Here he is now saying, this is how you ought to repent. Share with those in need. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. Do not use your authority wrongly. Allow God into your lives, for he wants the best for you. Rejoice in the Lord, who will give you meaning and purpose and a joyful reason to live. Rejoice in the Lord. Live like the Messiah is among you, and repent of any sins. And not only would you notice God's love around you, others will too. Remember, the Messiah is among you.